All right.
Hello, everybody. We're back here with you for yet another edition of the Expat Hour. I'm back in Asuncion after quite a productive adventure in Argentina and Uruguay, where I've been for a week and a half. Prices here are much cheaper, much more reasonable. Here I am at a fancy restaurant, and here by that I mean the most I've ever spent here on a date for two people was $90. That's with cocktails, high-end sushi, top, where the president himself will go. And here you can treat yourself to a glass of wine for $4 an hour. For $4 a glass. Well, Argentina has gotten much more expensive lately. Javier Milei has changed the official exchange rate, and it used to be the case that there was a gap between the official exchange rate and the black market rate. And Javier Milei bridged that gap. So now, suddenly, Argentina is priced twice as expensive as Paraguay. And what does this mean? Well, it means that you'll be paying twice the value of that for a glass of wine, and probably twice, 2 or 3 times for a dinner for two. It used to be the case in 2022 that you could easily grab dinner with a bottle of wine for 20, $30 in Buenos Aires. Now it's going to cost you close to 70 or 80. So the world is changing, and Uruguay is even much more expensive. Which it's more expensive than Spain. It's about on par with Italy and slightly cheaper than Germany, like 5% cheaper. Now, Andrew, you're the one who actually talked me into going on this adventure, right?
Yeah, Al. Once again, thanks for having me on your show. Long time no see, man. It's good to see you again. Also, I just want to say this for your awareness and for our audience's awareness. You look a lot better, man. A couple
Yeah,
of weeks ago, you were looking pretty run down. You are an entrepreneur. You produce a lot of work. You have an online business, a couple of different online businesses. And, a couple of weeks ago, you looked like you were pretty run down. And we were having a lot of conversations going back and forth about whether or not it was time for you to go ahead and go on a vacation, so to speak. You're already living the life of an expat. You're already living the life of a digital nomad, but you were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Can you explain the dilemma that you were in a couple of weeks ago, Al, and how we've gone about navigating it?
well, the dilemma I was in is that I had already lived in Paraguay for 2 months, and the cultural differences were a bit much to handle. Paraguay is a landlocked country with limited access to the outside world. It's a little bit like the Macondo from Gabriel Garcia Marquez's trademark novel, 100 Years of Solitude. It's a village where nobody but a few gypsies are able to pass through. It's so isolated from reality that
Yeah.
it's called 100 Years of Solitude. Macondo was Gabriel Garcia Marquez's critical way of capturing the idea of Latin American seclusion from the outside world. And there are a lot of countries in Latin America that are like this. For instance, this is the capital city of Paraguay, Asuncion. Yet
Hmm.
most people that I meet here do not have a passport, have never been abroad, and if they have been abroad, they used to go to Argentina when Argentina was cheap. Two
Hmm.
years ago it was. They literally go across the river, do some shopping, and coming back. A few are fortunate enough to go to Brazil to go to the beach, but they have no idea what Europe is like or what North America would look like. They just cannot tell you. All they can go by is the news or some of their relatives that have been to Spain and whatnot. And I've just had this sense of weariness, that
Hmm.
I felt like a foreigner here, and no matter how well intentioned and friendly the people may be, there's no way of connecting with them, and you're going to be totally out of place. And then, of course, I had the responsibility of running my two businesses, which weighed heavily on me. I wasn't sure what to do. I was ready for a positive change. So I went to Argentina for a few days. Then I took a ferry to Uruguay, where I played in a chess tournament. I've been there for close to a week. Then I flew back into Buenos Aires, and I came back to Asuncion again, which is where I am. And I do appreciate Paraguay in a whole new light now. Now
Now,
that it seems that
so Al, explain to our audience the big dilemma of going or not going. Do the chess tournament, don't do the chess tournament, because you and I were talking about this for a while, and I made it very clear that you need to go ahead and take this trip. Can you explain to me the thought process that was going through your mind at the time about why you shouldn't go, why you should go, and how, the conversations that we were having?
Well, one reason not to go is that, first of all, Argentina has gotten much more expensive. Uruguay is the
Mhm.
priciest country in South America. And I was just not in the right frame of mind to play chess because I had other things in my mind. And I did not have a good performance, and that's okay. And I was just thinking about how objectively staying in Paraguay was better. It's cheaper, it's more affordable.
Mhm.
It's easy to get around here, it's easy to get papers here. But bottom line is that I don't like it much.
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
there's not a lot to do. It's just, for a lack of a better word, it's a bit boring. But I was stuck in a rut here. That's what happened. I was just stuck in a rut.
So what did I tell you?
Well, you gotta go. You've gotta open up your horizons. You've gotta do what you like once in a while. And it's not something you're going to be doing every month. It's a once in a year tournament,
Mhm.
and you don't have to you don't have to commit to something this extravagant all that often. But as a once in a while endeavor, why not?
And at the end of it all, are you glad that you did it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful choice.
Can you tell our audience a little bit more about the adventure that you have? I think this is important because as a digital nomad, as an expat, as somebody who has the ability to go ahead and take your life abroad, I think it's important that our audience understand a little bit more about what your experience has been.
Well, I arrived in Buenos Aires on last Wednesday, and less than an hour later, I found myself in an expat meetup where I met a whole bunch of Americans there. And interestingly, one of the Americans whom I met there was a young woman from California. I can't tell you how old she was, but she looked like a typical Karen, let's just say. Maybe 25-ish, black, blonde hair. And to be frank, I have nothing against her personally because she was actually nice to me. She was eager to make friends with other Americans. We had some interesting conversations about life in America. That she was going back to New York for some reason. I think she has family in New York. She goes back and forth between somewhere in California, New York, and Buenos Aires. And one way in which she stood out is what she said about herself when we were playing a little game that was supposed to teach us how to speak a foreign language. It was a game for expats and Argentinians. It's an intercambio, what they call a language exchange activity. And they gave us flashcards with expressions in English and in Spanish. And depending on your background, you're supposed to practice expressing your thoughts in a foreign language. And one of the questions on these flashcards was, who's your favorite person and why? And being a true American that she was, she said that she was her own favorite person. And I could not help but remark on that, like, how American is that? How Gen Z-ish. I don't know if she's Gen Z or late millennial, but this is exactly the impression you get if you were to live in New York or California, a cesspool of politically correct narcissism, the sense of entitlement that
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok foster. She could not think of anything more thoughtful to say than that she was her own favorite person. I mean, without any sense of apparent embarrassment when it came for my turn to do this, she gave me some gentle guidance. You don't have to think about this too hard. After all, haha, I'm the one who said that I was my own favorite person.
Mhm.
And so that was my Thursday night, and I stayed in a neighborhood called Palermo. Palermo is one of the upscale neighborhoods. It's pretty wealthy. It's pretty good. And but it's still, armed robbery is a bit of a risk, so I was pretty careful. The next day, I went on yet another crazy adventure. In Buenos Aires, there is an option to order an Uber by motorcycle. You can't do that in Montevideo. I don't think you
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
it on Asuncion. So I went all the way across Buenos Aires from Palermo to Puerto Madera by motorcycle, and I wanted to buy my ticket to go by ferry to Montevideo, Uruguay. There, I bought the ticket. It cost me $90. So the ferry would go from Uruguay to Argentina, $90, and then they gave me my ticket in an envelope. I stuffed it into my back pocket, and I went on a motorcycle ride again, 30 minutes all the way across downtown, across Chinatown. Yeah, by the way, I've also been to Chinatown earlier that day where I took the motor. Chinatown, the motorcycle. Chinatown in Buenos Aires is really something quite special. And I got the ticket. I lost the ticket. Then I ended up at yet another expat meetup in Buenos Aires, where with this was actually much more interesting. I've met some very interesting people. I've ended up, I've never felt alone around a place there. Honestly, if I were to tell you the whole story of what I did in Buenos Aires, it would take a whole hour. But there's
Yeah.
just so much more to say. I'm not going to get into the personal details of all
Yeah.
this. But let's
100%.
just say that Buenos Aires is such a cosmopolitan city that no matter what country you're from, and there are people from many different countries, you're going to find like-minded people from many other countries. They see Paraguay is different. Paraguay is provincial and parochial. So
Mhm.
you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. In Argentina, you're going to blend in, no problem. So then I went to
Right.
Uruguay, and Uruguay, Montevideo, Uruguay is not quite as bustling and dynamic as Argentina. You wouldn't say that it's a much smaller city. Downtown in Montevideo is just about that. If you walk around at night, you're going to see a lot of buildings that don't have much life going on there for them. I thought that was a bit of a disappointment, honestly.
Mhm.
Montevideo, however, Montevideo may become a more appealing destination for expats as Argentina continues to become more expensive. But Uruguay, the dollar actually got stronger, and it's protecting you from inflation.
Okay.
Right. So it used to be the case that a dollar was worth 37. Argentina, Uruguayan pesos 37, 38, and less than 40 last year. That's what it was when I've been there. Now it's 43, although the official inflation figure is just 8%. So it sounds like in Uruguay, you got a better economic deal for now. Argentina will keep on getting pricier, unfortunately. But I can't tell you that I'm very much impressed with Uruguay at this point, at least with Montevideo. I'd recommend Punta del Este. I'd recommend Piriápolis. I'd recommend going up the coast on the way to Brazil rather than just staying in the capital, which is actually looking pretty rundown and depressed.
Okay. So Al, you just described a whole series of countries that you worked your way through in a very short period of time. There was a video. A video that you produced a day or two ago, and
Uh
you and I were talking about this. I think it's been one of your most powerful messages yet.
huh.
There's a reason why I recommended that you go on this trip. There's a reason why it is that I think it was really important for you to go ahead and get some time for yourself, away from your business, to go ahead and really just find your center again. And I think that you've done that. Can you recap, can you summarize a little bit more about what it is that you covered in that video? Because I think your message was powerful. And I think that that message is very appropriate for our audience this evening.
Well, as you know, I've arrived in Argentina with a beat up suitcase that's accompanied me on many different trips. I did not even bother taking my clothes to the laundromat. I just took enough to get by, and I did not bother going any further. Then, then I realized that it was time to go back to Paraguay. I realized something important, that I don't really want to bring that suitcase back. I uh, I just don't think I need it. A lot of these clothes are old and worn out, and this is just baggage, frankly. And to me, it's not just about the suitcase. It's baggage that we carry around with us. A lot of people in America do exactly that. They hold on to negative emotions, past resentments, grievances. God knows they have so much of that going around in corporate America. We hold on to houses that are never going to make money for us because we want to claim that this is the American dream. We hold on to toxic family relationships. Now, I'm not saying that you should throw away your family or throw away your country because you're a piece of dirty luggage. It's not that. But it is that you should not be nurturing relationships with people for the simple fact that they've been your friends for a long time or because they're
Yeah.
family. See, if you go into any business meeting or any casual meetup, what you're going to find is that people do show respect for one another on some level. They have an incentive to do that. They have an incentive to stick to the point, to make it a reasonably attractive endeavor for everybody. But in a lot of the family and friends get-togethers, people do take each other for granted, and people end up with quite a bit of baggage because of this, and they can't let go because how could I? I'm a native-born Texan. Somebody may say I'm from Alabama. I've been here my whole life. How can I ever abandon this place? The reality is that you need to open up your horizons. So what I did, I took that luggage to a Russian restaurant, to that piece of luggage to a Russian restaurant, and uh, I asked the owner of the restaurant if she could spare a bag, a small bag where I can put on a few of my new clothes. And she did. Then I just threw this luggage away with the majority of my old clothes, and I went to the airport, and I did not even bother paying the fee for my luggage because that was carry-on, and that was them. Oh, I left. Let's see what happened with this trip. For me, it was quite symbolic, Andrew.
Hmm.
That I have literally dispensed with my baggage. I've
I can
dispensed
tell.
with my luggage.
Al, you dispense with a lot of baggage that you've had a lot of other stuff going on that we've been talking about. You dispensed with a lot of metaphorical baggage that you've been carrying, but also your actual luggage. And I just want to say, you look 10 times better, man. You look
Yeah,
way better. You sound better too.
and that was a journey we're taking, and that, in a nutshell, sums up the point of becoming
Oh,
an expert. Importance of reconnaissance. Yes, it will cost you money. Yes, you will be uncomfortable. Yes, you will have some unpleasant experiences. Of course, not everything is rosy, but you will need that in order to dispense with your baggage and start fresh. You need that clean slate.
so in terms of one of the things that's important to remember is that you don't have to do the reconnaissance all on your own. You don't have to rely on you figuring everything out specifically through your own experience. We've got a team here that can help you navigate all of those details. People like Al that have already been to these countries, that have been through the process, that have figured a lot of these things out. We're here to help. And so if traveling is on your mind, if becoming an expat is something that interests you, Al, how would our viewers get in contact with you?
Well, just send me an email, academiccomposition@gmail.com, book a free consultation. We'll put the description, the link in the description. You can set up a free consultation for half an hour. And after that, well, we can come up with specific questions for us to look at together. And that's where we can really help you plan your journey from A to Z.
From A to Z, I think that pretty much well sums it up. Al, do you have any parting thoughts for our audience this evening?
And remember that it's never too late to live life to the hilt. Don't think that just because something seems difficult, that something makes you uncomfortable, you can't do it. You can do it. And your life is not infinite, and you've got to find a way to see what you really want to do with it. And
Absolutely.
if you're stuck in a rut in America, well, expatriation just may be the right way to go.
I love it. Finally, Al, if people want to see your vlog, if people want to see the videos and the content that you produced during this whole journey, can you go ahead and tell us again specifically where to go ahead and find your YouTube channel and to find how to find such things?
Well, this is my YouTube channel that you're watching now. It's my name, Alexei Bashtavenko, and then you just look at my recent videos, you'll see you know quite a bit about my travel history, where I've been, what I've done, and what it counts for.
So please like and subscribe. Al, thank you so very much for your time this evening. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Andrew. We'll be in touch.